All right, so we're back. Another week of casual gaming news. We're here. It's probably going to be shorter than usual. So we're going to see how this goes. So I was continuing to be more picky about the news stories. We've got a couple smaller ones, mostly bigger stories, and some chat pics and stuff from the Discord. I think this is going to be great. And then after this, stay tuned for some Star Wars Outlaws. Where should we start, gamers? Where should we start? We should start, speaking of Deadlock, we should start with Deadlock. There was so many leaks and stuff that Valve finally officially announced it last week with a store page, a very basic store page in Steam. So you can go look at it. It'll tell you that it's in early access and that you can only gain access via invite, which started with like playtesters and developers and kind of like spreads from there. Similar to one of the old Halo achievements where you had to in a multiplayer match kill someone who worked on the game or someone who killed someone that worked on the game. So it was like a virus spreading achievement type thing in Halo. So this is similar. You just have to gain access via link from friends. And then their friends send out links to invite other friends, so on and so forth. We may or may not have access to this game. And we may or may not played a game of it last night at like 3:30 a.m. But it's fine, don't worry about it. People have been able to stream it, which we've seen. So there was weeks of discussion. The game footage appearing across social media. I think it was streamed on... No, it was Star Wars that streamed. Okay. It says 6v6 third-person hero shooter MOBA, which, you know, jumping into a PvP match as your first experience was a huge trial by fire, but it seems fun. If you like MOBAs and you like shooters, this is going to be Valve's next big game, assuming they continue to support it, which I assume they will. Lots of heroes in there, lots of abilities, lots of menus. There's a lot of stuff going on in this game. So if you have the chance to check it out, please do. Because it's going to be, I think it's going to be pretty big for at least a couple weeks. And this story is from Jordan Midler of VGC. Almost all the stories are VGC today. We got a handful of other ones. Next on the docket. So there were plans for a Crash Bandicoot 5, which were scrapped because Activision wants to work on live service games. Love that. Don't you love that? So no Crash 5, but we get more live service stuff. Says Jordan Midler, VGC again. So, Activision overall is pulling back on funding single-player titles in favor of live service projects. So there not only was Crash 5 shot down, I don't think they list a specific idea that this got scrapped for, but other ideas such as a sequel to Tony Hawk's Pro Skater was also shot down. They weren't vibing with how quote-unquote mid Crash 4 did, which is why they were like, no, we're not doing that again. But everyone seemed to like Crash 4 that played it. And I haven't played a Crash game in a long time, but I think Crash is available on Game Pass, if we remember correctly from a previous story, which is going to be fun to jump into at some point. The report contains alleged concept art and proposed story concepts for the unannounced game, which includes the game taking place at a school for villainous children featuring returning villains from previous games. One supposed concept even saw Crash team up with Spyro. Universes collide, following an interdimensional threat to both worlds, which would have been nuts. Crash and Spyro were intended to be the two playable characters. How awesome would that have been? Crash and Spyro in the same game. This is something that the gamers have been asking for since these games came out. Crash and Spyro, that would have been nuts. But, of course, Activision being Activision, they said no. Love that. Next on the list, we'll go through, speaking of Activision, already talking about Activision, the Raven Software Union has been struggling with bargain agreements with Activision. It says from Jordan Midler, VGC again. Did appear in a GameFile article, which the actual link is borked. The title says talks about this, but then the actual story is about Nintendo. So the link to this is borked, unfortunately. So there was an original article somewhere. But the union that Activision and Microsoft did both recognize a couple years ago, I think it was Activision Blizzard officially recognized the union, which was established by a group of QA workers in 2022. Game Workers Alliance was the first labor union formed at a major US gaming company. But they're being accused of being guilty of refusal to bargain / bad faith bargaining. At the time, everyone's most beloved gaming CEO, Bobby Kotick, said, with the election having concluded, we will engage in good faith negotiations to enter into a collective bargaining agreement. Apparently that's not happening after 2 years. After Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard, our members were optimistic that they would progress quickly to a first contract at Raven Software. Unfortunately, this has not happened. We encourage Microsoft to address the concerns raised in the unfair labor practice charge and make reaching a fair agreement priority. Microsoft replied, we are committed to negotiating in good faith. And that's it. Guys, Activision is just being Activision. I don't think anyone should be surprised about this. But hopefully Microsoft steps in and is like, hey, let's get this done. Or Microsoft could be part of the problem. Who knows? Who knows? We don't know yet. Only time will tell how this will play out. Hopefully Raven Studio, who works on, I think, all of the Black Ops series stuff, is able to get something going soon. Sooner rather than later. And then, speaking of this stuff, yeah, we'll go here. Speaking of Microsoft, so Marathon, which Bungie was working on, and has been working on for the longest time. This is Chris Scullion, VGC. I don't know if you can hear the sirens. If you can, I apologize. But there are loud sirens outside. Marathon, which is kind of in development hell right now, from what we've been hearing, fired its previous game director for misconduct allegations from female staff. Great. This was originally on Bloomberg. We will also link that one. Jason Schreier. That was the original article. There were multiple employee complaints that resulted in his termination, and his being Christopher Barrett, who worked on like Halo and Destiny and stuff. But he was accused of inappropriate behavior. What were the exact things? Or was it? Was said to have told lower level female employees they were attractive, asked them to play Truth or Dare, and suggested that he could help them to advance their careers because of his wealth and power in the studio. Just all the classic things that you would do as one of these people. Barrett put out a statement saying, I feel that I have always conducted myself with integrity and been respectful and supportive of my colleagues, many of whom I consider my close friends. I never understood my communications to be unwanted, and I would have never thought they could possibly have made anyone feel uncomfortable. If anyone ever felt that way about their interaction with me, I am truly sorry. Classic response, like very generic, very usual, but there were internal investigations, and they were found to be substantial enough to terminate the game director of Marathon, which I think we had a previous story that, like I said, development hell, that no one working on the game feels very confident about it. Yeah, the mood at Bungie regarding Marathon is not great. There's a reason that it was planned for this year and slipped a whole year, and people that I've talked to are a little pessimistic about it even hitting its current planned deadline. But we'll see. I don't know exactly when that is, sometime in 2025, I'm not sure. Sentiment I've heard is not great around it, at least a few months ago. So we don't even know if Marathon's gonna come out. I don't think it will, guys. I don't think it will. So, again, hell yeah for this person being terminated. We love that. More of that. Bob Kotick. But unfortunately, it's too late for him. Next, all right. We're gonna end the big news list on a good note. So we're gonna go and talk about NetEase and Tencent next. So the developer for Visions of Mana, Ouka Studios, is being closed by NetEase and Tencent because those two companies, I think they're Chinese companies. Yeah, Chinese companies, which have been investing in other studios, most notably Remedy, which we'll talk about later. I think they just increased their investment in Remedy. have been also investing in Japanese studios, such as this studio that they're closing, who developed Visions of Mana, which is a very popular, I think, JRPG game series. A lot of people playing it. Unfortunately, it's being closed, but they do have a ton of other studios in here. Grasshopper, Nagoshi Studio, Pincool, which does Dragon Quest, Studio Flare, GP Track. I don't know what this is. Resident Evil 4 producer. Okay, interesting. There is an original article. This was on Bloomberg again. This one specifically, though, is this Chris Scullion. Let me link this one. And then we're going to go to the Bloomberg one, which is going to be Takashi. I can't say that name. Bloomberg report as well. It's the original article. So they have been scaling back their Japanese investments. They cut all but a handful of jobs. They plan to close the studio with the remaining staff overseeing the release of its final games. Neither NetEase or Tencent show any signs of wanting to completely pull out of Japan. The report claims that both companies are starting to rethink their strategy in the country, which saw them making large investments in an attempt to build a catalog of big budget AAA games. I think at the bottom here, yeah, in April, Tencent significantly increased their shareholding in Remedy, increasing the ownership of the Alan Wake studio by almost 15%, or to almost 15%, which is a big chunk. That's a big chunk of stuff there. Big chunk. So again, another week, another set of studio closures. It happens it's every single week. It's literally every week. So we'll see. We'll see what happens next week. But again, I did want to end on a lighter note. So we're going to go up from here slightly. Still kind of unfortunate, but not as bad. The PS5, no, that's not that one. We want the other one. We want the other PlayStation one. The PlayStation prices in Japan are being increased for like the second or third time. Chris Scullion. By almost $100. They're being increased. $100 US. There's no plans that I've seen. Well, I mean, they're getting close to the prices they are now here. I think they were originally like almost half the price. Where was it? Console launched in November 2020. It cost around $345 for the standard and $275 for the digital. So they were almost half the price they are now, or a little more than half the price they are now, which is nuts. So they've been just slowly increasing the price, which is like, when you think about it, why have we been paying 500 plus since the start when they've been paying under 400? You know what I'm saying? Wild. The implementation starts next month, the beginning of next month. The accessories and Portal are also seeing price increases. So Portal's not gonna be $240, which is a lot. I think that's more than what ours is now. I think ours is still $199. And then other accessories like the controllers and stuff. So the accessories and other peripherals are gonna be more, but the consoles are still gonna be less technically. So we'll see how this works out for them. I mean, the next story is gonna be about the Pro launch and how there have been leaks about the plans for the PS5 Pro. Chris Scullion, VGC. So this is from a quote-unquote leaker with a very long and proven track record of leaks, saying that an announcement will come very soon. They've received photos of what it looks like, but since they didn't want to post the photos, they did a little drawing. They did a little drawing of what they think it's going to look like. PS5 Pro looks exactly like how it does now, except for the middle things. The rumor is, or the assumption is, there's going to be no disc version of this. It's only going to be digital, and no other specs confirmed. Again, this is all rumors and leaks, so we'll see in the next month or so. Again, it's the well-known leaker of Bill Kuhn. Again, lengthy track record of being correct. This is what it's going to look like. So most likely before the holidays, we'll see some sort of announcement about this, and it's most likely going to be expensive. No confirmation or anything else yet, and obviously no confirmation from PlayStation, Sony. And that was Chris Scullion. Last on my list of bigger news stories is the Annapurna Remedy link up to start development on Control 2, which we just finished last night, the main story for. It's Chris Scullion, VGC again. So Annapurna is planning to co-finance Control 2 with Remedy. The announcement was, there was a Twitter. I think it's actually in here, so yeah. The official tweet from Remedy Entertainment. We are partnering with Annapurna to co-finance Control 2. We hope you're as excited about what this means for our creative output and ongoing independence as we are. We're also happy to announce that Annapurna will work with us on expanding the Control and Alan Wake franchise to film and TV. So that's super exciting to get to see these worlds on the screen. Again, we had a blast playing Control. The ending was a little bit disappointing, but we had a blast playing it. Alan Wake is still a very good, like, thriller mystery game. We haven't played the second one yet. We're going to play that this fall. What is it? The companies also put out some statements. Communication director Thomas Pulls. Above all, it means Remedy is able to make Control 2 exactly the game you want it to be, while we now also have an incredible partner to extend our IPs to other mediums. So they're super excited. We're super excited. Sam Lake, the creative director, I'm absolutely thrilled by this opportunity to expand the story of Alan Wake and our whole Remedy connected universe to mediums beyond games, and to build all of this in close collaboration, games, film, TV, and other mediums, as well as one unified vision. I trust Annapurna are the perfect partner for us to make this dream come true. That's super exciting. I'm excited that they're excited about it. I'm excited for more Control and Alan Wake stuff. This is much better news than if they were acquired by a bigger company. So instead of an acquisition, we just got kind of a partnership, which is super cool. And I'm glad everyone is excited about it. Now on to some cool shorter stories. Tetris Forever was announced, which, if you're into Tetris, they're releasing like a legacy history collection of games. It's like 15 games from over the years of all the Tetris. I think there's a documentary that's also included with this as well. Tetris Forever is the next game in Digital Eclipse's Gold Master series and will include more than 15 playable games from the series history. So we got accurate recreation of the original version on the Electronica 60 computer. I know Vendraco knows all about that. The Famicom, Tetris 2 and Bombliss, Battle Gaiden or Gaiden, Hatris, Super Bombliss, Bombliss DX, Tetris 2 Bombliss, Tetris 2, Super Tetris 3. We'll watch this little trailer. That's in, where did it say? As the next Gold Master Series entry, Tetris Forever will also include more than an hour of documentary featurettes, which is super fun. Again, this stuff is cool. When they re-release like these retro games in like new formats, I love this.
12 shapes. It's too much to remember. I decided that I should downsize it. So if I introduce flipping,
This is so cool.
then I have just 5 pieces.
This trailer's hype.
That's how Tetris was born.
That's how Tetris was born. I don't know if anyone watched that Tetris movie, but apparently it was very good.
No, I didn't have the rights. I said, I'm going to go to the Soviet Union and get those rights.
I believe that Tetris will be here forever.
Tetris Forever. Wants to be forked. I got a lot going on, so we're gonna put that to 1080.
I have one of the greatest games in the history of computer games.
Alexei really created the perfect game.
15 timeless games.
2 weeks in a row, I did nothing but play.
Play Tetris, my friends.
Tetris is inclusive.
There it
and
is.
It appeals to everyone.
It's so hyped for no reason.
Every
It's
place
just
was
Tetris.
sold out, and every place was clamoring for more.
We're always trying to figure out what is the best way to keep the core game
Mm-hmm.
of Tetris.
Oh, that's obnoxious. The same color blocks.
Nobody thought this game was going to last forever.
Wish list now. Da-na-na-na-na. Everyone's excited about this. It's super exciting. So yeah, if you like Tetris, go for it. The other cool stuff news story: The Witcher 4 has been confirmed to start production soon. This is VGC Chris Scullion. The code name for this project that they've been hinting about is Polaris. So again, they're announcing that they're starting soon. CD Projekt Red. Nothing that has started yet. I assume some stuff has been started already, but just another cool short story about confirmation Witcher series. It's gonna this is probably gonna be their biggest release ever when this comes out, with the show and with 3 and then the show doing also good. I think the sales of 3 jumped up a lot once this show came out, if I remember correctly. So this is going to be a huge release once that comes out. Very excited about it. I know a certain someone that we play Elden Ring / Dark Souls with is going to be very excited about it as well. I have not seen the last season of the show. I hear also it's not the best, but I do need to catch up. Time for chat picks. Let me get rid of some of these tabs here. Story on IGN about Concord, which was just released, saying how the game had been in development, I guess technically still is if it's a live service, for about 8 years. Because someone who's worked there is like, oh, I've been here for 5, but the development's been going for 8, which is such a long time to work on a game. And again, I don't think anyone's really playing this a lot. It's the 5v5 hero shooter. So like Sony's version of Overwatch. Lopez, I did see the stories about Venezuela being under a blackout. It's so nuts. But this came out technically, I think the 23rd, if I remember correctly. Full release set for the 23rd, yeah, because this story came out on the 22nd, technically. This also did come out for PC as well. Again, just no one's playing this game. I would love to jump in, but it's not a free game, unfortunately, so I don't think enough of us will be able to get it. I think it's like $40 on Steam, something like that. I would love to play it. People that have been playing it have liked it a lot. There's just not a lot of people playing it. But 8 years is a lot of time to work on a game. This is, by the way, Wesley Yinpool in IGN. Shouts out. And the last couple news stories we have here gonna be about Deebs and Blizzard. We all know that Blizzard's the best, right? So with I think it was Gamescom. When was it? Was it Games? Yeah, it was at Gamescom where they did like a developer video announcement type thing where they were talking about the future of the game and the next stuff to come out. They're talking about all the multiplayer stuff that's coming out. And how they were saying that a lot of the game or the new parts of the game will quote unquote need to be completed with other players, saying that you need to like communicate with your team to get through these parts of the game. This is videogamer.com. This is Lewis White. And a lot of the fans are very unhappy, saying that the devs are out of touch. They're turning it into a quote-unquote bootleg Lost Ark. I never finished Lost Ark, but Lost Ark was fun. Yeah, the endgame did need multiplayer stuff. I do remember hearing about that. But Lost Ark is a lot of fun. It's like just a brighter, like Final Fantasy mixed with Diablo 4. Like just the vibe is just a lot brighter. The whole description of needing to communicate with your group to get through, it's like the opposite of anything I want from playing an ARPG, says another fan. I'm hoping it'll be less popular than they hope and they'll change something. I abhor this universal push into making everything forced multiplayer, which again, this has been a very popular game lately. We've been playing it a lot, but a lot of the stuff again has been behind paywalls. I think a few of the new features, new items were locked behind the content. Such as a scroll that lets you reset your daily temper attempts, which is pretty nuts. And this on top of the follow-up story of, I think they're saying that 85% of players play solo. I mean, this is Game Rant, I believe. Gabriel Machado. 85% of Diablo 4 players choose to play solo, but Blizzard plans to boost multiplayer with updates. Upcoming Vessel Hatred expansion will bring new classes, companions, and main quest storyline. Blizzard is introducing fan-requested features like customizable waypoints and an armory system. But there's all of the multiplayer stuff that they're also adding. Again, how can you see that 85% of your player base is playing solo, but want to push for multiplayer, which is just going to alienate a lot of people? Again, we probably won't have that issue. We'll squad up, I'm sure. But on days where we just want to turn brains off and play by ourselves, is going to be annoying. But I believe that's going to be it. Again, like I said, it's going to be a shorter one. Trying to keep them a little bit shorter than they've been, as long as there's also no there was like a Nintendo Indie World thing, but not too much like super notable stuff. I think they showed more for the new Zelda game. They announced a bunch of JRPG stuff, and a couple other things, but nothing too crazy. A lot of Capcom stuff. Yeah, I think the another fighters game or something. I forget. But yeah, not a lot of crazy things. Jargo's the new fighter. Yeah, the fighter collection is what it was. But yeah, as long as there's no like event and not a lot of crazy stories, it's probably going to be around this length moving forward. It helps with the edit and it helps retention, because I'm sure people don't want to watch a full 40 minutes to an hour of me yapping about effing video games. But that's going to be it for news for today. Thank you all for hanging out during this casual gaming news section. We're going to switch over to Star Wars Outlaw soon. Make sure to check out the links in the chat, YouTube, Twitter, Discord, TikTok. We're going to start getting into posting more soon, because we need to make time for that. And we need to do all the things. Dorgrin, I appreciate you. You're the best. But see you guys next time.